And we're live with today's interview subject, which is Deus Ex Machina B42. Also, so he came here with a suit as he promised. So yeah, we're gonna just start this with how did you get into GamerGate?
Well, I started off watching quite a few of the YouTube videos that are going around. Subscribed to several of the people with Internet Aristocrats before all this shit kicked off, and I just found it amusing at the time. And then it's now 2 months later, the shit's still going on. This is too ridiculous not to get involved. So joined up with Twitter, spent fucking ages trying to find a decent username, then gave up with the shitty one I've got at the moment, and just started reading basically all through the ridiculous number of tweets. About that simple, really. It was too ridiculous to ignore.
All right, and what do you think of GamerGate currently, and what are you doing in it?
Well, myself, I think the main thing is participate in these discussions. I'm not involved in any of the chans or anything like that. Uh, I mean, I used to participate in forums and such years ago, but I've kind of don't really like that format anymore. So I find it takes a lot of time. I prefer just sort of being able to catch up with things through Twitter, and as I said before, more for the YouTube stuff. So thanks to you for letting me get involved with this stuff, because I find for me, this is the most comfortable way to discuss things, as close to face as you're going to get. Um, what was the other part of the question? I forgot actually.
What you're currently doing, and what do you think of it in the present?
Yeah, oh yeah. So I said what I'm currently doing. So what do I think at the moment? Well, again, I'm sorry, am I too quiet there? Are you hearing me
No,
okay?
just boosting it a little bit.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. Yeah. I think the ridiculousness is still definitely there. At the moment, at this very precise moment, there seems to be a lot of fucking ridiculous drama going on. But yes. But otherwise, as far as definitely, there are still people who are pushing the core message of like, what was it, Richard Stanton today, threatening to fight someone if they're willing to. It's like responding to that kind of shit. Uh, yeah, so I mean, it's definitely some bullshit going on at the moment. But as far as the core of people that I follow, at least, I think they are just generally decent people who will continue on as far as I can see, for as long as it takes for this bullshit to be over, which could be a while.
Yeah. Are you doing anything in particular with sending emails or just tweeting?
No, I just read quite a lot. I mean, that's support, basically just encouragement. I don't have a lot of time to do research or any stuff like that. I've got a full-time job. You've got to wear a suit and tie, all that kind of shit. So yeah, uh, no, I haven't sent any emails. I'm not sure I agree with that myself personally. I'm willing to, because it's kind of like it has been effective, no doubt about that. But personally, I prefer straightforward boycotting rather than saying you shouldn't advertise with these people because they're nasty. Although, yeah, I can see why some people would favour that, but personally, it's not my thing. So I do the things that I feel like I'm comfortable doing, which I don't think is unreasonable at all.
All right. So that moves us into the next question, which is, um, what do you think Gamergate is going to become in the future?
Well, the main thing I would think is obviously there's quite a lot of networking of individuals that's been going on. So the main thing is more than anything else is the fact that various people who didn't know anything about each other before this began have obviously got to know each other. Some of which people are less than enthused about, some of which people are feel more than positive about. Like any other online community, this sort of thing happens. But yeah, it's the first time I've been involved in this sort of streaming stuff, and I found that quite enjoyable. And yeah, I think for me that would be the best outcome. if nothing else, is just being able to discuss interesting things with interesting people. There is definitely going to be some sort of legacy. This is an unprecedented event in internet history that something could have lasted this long. I mean, as far as basically a sort of single topic issue where people won't shut up about it, because the internet kind of enhances people's natural tendencies, and the tendencies for people to get bored and move on to the next thing, which hasn't happened yet, which is surprising. So if anything, if nothing else, it will certainly have an indelible impression on the future of the internet, however that turns out. This is not something that's going to be forgotten anytime soon, I would have thought. Yeah, that's kind of how I see the future, at least. Best case scenario, we basically people can't ignore the fact that yes, there are people who are going to be watching always, whether they call themselves GamerGate or whatever else. And there are a lot of people out there who are able to see through the bullshit. So if you're not a professional who's up to the task of their job, there may just be someone out there who's going to call you on your bullshit. The worst case scenario is just a bunch of people who found common interests and extended their network of people that they communicate with. So either way, I think if that was the best we ever achieved, I don't think that's which it isn't really, but I think that would be completely unreasonable thing to be proud of, really.
Do you think a lot of people who have interviewed or on the stream have said that it's going to become a watchdog? Do you agree with?
Well, as I say, I kind of alluded to that. As I say, whether it takes that name on, or because I've said this before, I think it's a fucking stupid name at the end of the day. I think the lasting impression certainly will be. You can't. Well, what's the meme about the internet never forgets? It's kind of resonating that a bit more. It's not so much a joke anymore. It's more, yeah, there are people out there, and if you piss them off enough with your bullshit, they will find you and they will expose you. So hopefully it will keep people more honest in jobs where honesty is the currency of their professional relationships. Or at least it would be if things weren't corrupt, which is kind of the point, really. It's the yeah. So a watchdog group, that sounds way too formal to me. I prefer the unwashed hordes. Basically, you never know who's going to be where, who's going to be looking at the bullshit. And to be fair, you have seen that with bloggers and such in the past. People doing good journalism, if you put that in inverted quotes because you don't think blogging can be journalism. Basically, people who take the time and effort because they're passionate on something to do the proper research. And I think that there'll always be a place where that's appreciated. It's just that people should never be surprised that the Pareto principle applies, where a lot of shit is going to be out there. The quality you may have to seek out a bit, but when you find it, you should spread it around as much as possible and say, which I think part of the rebuild initiative really is saying, well, this is the good stuff you should be looking at, and perhaps ignore some of the shittier stuff and just let that wither and die by itself.
When it comes to what GamerGate is doing right and doing wrong, well, what do you think GamerGate can improve, and what do you think it's not doing a good job, or a good job?
Well, what can you do? Continue doing right. Definitely getting developers on board, because they have as much to gain as we do, really. And I understand, although some of it is innuendo and rumor and so forth, that there are probably quite a lot in the industry. I mean, it's hard not to see why you wouldn't have sympathy with an audience who's basically saying, we just want to let you get on with your job, produce a product, and we'll buy it if we like it, which seems like the simplest thing in the world to me. Possibly not so much with the executive class of developers, because they have slightly different concerns to the working plebeians who obviously get all the shit thrown at them. As far as what we're doing wrong or could improve, I mean, definitely. I mean, there's a lot of bullshit drama, but as I've said before, it's like you've got to expect that from people. Definitely, don't bother engaging with people trying. I mean, or just it's a. I mean, if you can engage with someone and have a productive conversation, that's fine. If you want to let off steam, I guess that's fine as well. But don't pretend that you're in any way being productive. I mean, I'm fine with saying, like, I might have a go at someone because I find it amusing in some way. That's certainly things I've done in the past, and get a rise out of someone. That is something people do, but you can't at the same time pretend then, oh right, well, everything I'm doing is perfectly fine or without consequence, or somehow that's GamerGate. I guess you could say this about any group of people. It's like whether you like it or not, what you do can reflect upon the wider group. Whether you care about that or not, and I guess really at the end of the day we are talking about a fucking hashtag. I have to keep coming back to this. Somehow to me it all seems a bit trivial. I mean, really, the fact that things have got done outweighs any negative aspect of the social interaction, because you'll find those negative aspects basically everywhere, and the internet is a megaphone. It will always amplify everything you do, the good and the bad.
Yeah. How long do you think it's gonna last, in your opinion?
Sorry, I didn't cut out for a sec.
Oh, sorry. How do you think GamerGate is gonna last?
How long?
Yeah.
So how long? All right. Well, that's a tough one, because I mean, how do you define when it ends? Would be the obvious question. Does it end when
Well, so that's to you. When
That you see, that's a difficult thing, right? If I'm lone madman who's tweeting hashtag GamerGate every day for the rest of my life, does that mean it's never ended? I don't know. When does it end? I find that a philosophical question, which I find difficult to wrestle with the precise criteria which you can say end. I guess a good way would basically say everyone's got what they want, apart from the people who are corrupt, because I don't think anyone can support corrupt people getting what they want, and we all go away and have a happy life until inevitably the next series of bullshit comes up, as it always does, such as the endless cycle of life. And estimations and how long that might take, it could be years, to be fair. I mean, if you talk about endemic corruption, which it does definitely seem to be, you are talking about dismantling a particular industry and rebuilding it again. So yeah, it could be going on for a while. Whether that is GamerGate or whatever label you're going to put onto it. Certainly, I'm sure some of the key people who are very passionate about this will continue to be involved. I'll continue to watch what's going on with interest. Yeah, these things take time. I think a lot of people are expecting, or possibly might have expected, this will be something that will just be resolved in one day. I mean, the reaction from the other side should show clear endemic corruption. If it was just one or two bad apples, yeah, this sort of shit would have been sorted out, no problem. But it hasn't been. So the incestuousness is clearly there. Everything that we've learnt over the course of the past several months would indicate to me that it's not going to be over anytime soon.
I got a question from Ian Davis asking, why are you Day of Sex?
Sorry, you're cutting out again.
Oh, why are you called Day of
Sex? Deus Ex. Well,
no,
yeah,
he said it that way. Look in the chat.
I'm going to have to read this now. What how they insulted me. Day of Sex. Well, that's how long it lasts when I'm doing it.
Yeah, he asked if you are that well.
Okay.
So, see if the chat has any questions. So
yeah.
you can just go ahead and ask. Answer it. Do you have anything with the whole that?
Sorry?
Do you have any good answer to the whole day of sex thing?
Oh, if I was answering it seriously, yes. Well, in essence, I usually go by cyborg and various other things. I haven't used that for a while because it's so generic as a term. Deus Ex Machina, God from the Machine, I find quite an interesting idea. Obviously, a literal theatrical device. When it was back in the Grecian days, where you you'd have a god basically lowered in to resolve a situation. Um, often, often now as a trope, like resolving the situation. I've also seen it as a metaphysical thing, saying that God comes from the machine, as in God, what people would think of as God is a manifestation of the machine, the human machine, which is how I view the sort of biochemical activities. And B42, reference to Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy in the 42, version 42, because why not? I'm software developer, and because someone else had taken all the other variations on that I wanted to fucking use. So it got more complicated, and now I've just built a bullshit backstory to explain all that completely rationally.
I'm a good question person to stream with in my streams.
Sorry?
Kanye West. Who is your favorite person to stream with in my streams? Kanye West.
That is an interesting question because if
Yeah.
I answer it, I'm gonna obviously gonna get in trouble with someone. The fucking bastards asking such a question. Well, obviously it's myself.
There are no one in particular.
I'm just trying to think who regular Space Kitty. I'd have to say probably just because I fucking love that StarCraft avatar so much. No other reason. Just it's a fucking cat in a fucking marine helmet. What else do you fucking want, really?
All right. Ian Davis asked, "Would you fight Richard Stanton?"
Would I fight him?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because obviously there's no way you could win that. I mean, even if you beat you up, it was like, okay, mate, well that's assault. So, and obviously he's gonna hit me first. I'm like, he's going, all right, well we're gonna start the fight, so. And I start defending myself when you hit me. There's no other way. And of course, at that point, he's fucked either way because then I'm just defending myself. So if I beat the shit out of him, I win. If he beats the shit out of me, I win. Take him to court.
Nice.
Obviously, it's not tough guy bullshit, so it's never going to happen. He's never going to do it with anyone. It's never going to happen. It's just, like, yeah, okay, mate. You get actually carry through that. Someone may give a shit, but there's no way he's going to. No, none of these people. Nobody's ever said that on the internet. I think has ever done it. Possibly maybe isolated cases, but in general, everyone knows it's fucking complete bullshit, which is why everyone's obviously going up. Actually, you know what? Mercedes Perez said when Matt Binder was doing the same thing that she would be willing to fight him. So I'd like to see that as well. Yeah, yeah. Because obviously, again, you could only lose because when you're fighting a girl, and but obviously you'd have to be treating her equally. I love that kind of paradox of the gender feminists can't get away from. Don't hit a woman. It's like, well, I'm treating her equally. I'd hit you. If you're a man, I'd fucking hit you. If you're doing that sort of shit to me. But yeah, obviously, double standards abound. So yeah, I think that's the most complete answer I could possibly have to that question.
Let's.
Sure. Yeah, I was actually on the stream permit at the same time, just for the record. Sorry, Angel. It's just in the chat. If you want to pick a question out, you are the interviewer after all. I'm not going to take over this. I'm not going to get the job otherwise.
It was the whole Battlefield hotline using DRM to lock out. We talked about it yesterday.
Yeah, we did. I can reiterate. I mean,
yeah.
It's bullshit. I want to play a single player game. I don't want to have to go for this shit. Straightforward as that. Obviously understands the desire for publishers and so forth to protect their content, but at the end of the day, they're going to lose the fucking battle against people who are going to pirate it. So you're only really punishing your paying customers. And it's never worked. It's never going to work. I mean, I'm okay with reasonable protections, like having to have a CD inserted or something like that. Although, presuming the reason why they're going online is because they realise so many people have got ways around that. But if you just talk about stopping the casual man on the street from knowing how to do that shit, I can live with that. But yeah, anyone who's determined is going to fucking find a way. It's a fact. You can always do
Yeah,
something
it's
like packet sniff the network, see what codes are coming in and out, pull that shit up, set up your own route and local host, and then you just replicate whatever's going on there. That sort of shit people do. So there we are.
yeah, it doesn't look like there are any more questions. I want to thank you for coming on and in a suit and tie doing this interview. So yeah, people actually suggesting in the comments we do a Euro with a little earlier, so we Europeans like for have one. All of us have a stream together, which isn't a bad idea.
So was that because you cut out again? Was it just going to
a Europe stream.
European time zone based stream? This is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Which
might have to do a European stream. Yeah, I see it. Yeah, it makes sense because you seem to be on Californian time somehow. I don't know how the fuck you manage it. I guess you're a student at the moment. You get up in the afternoon anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, there's another question actually. Just reading in the chat. Favorite retro games. So I've got a whole bucket load of fucking cassette. I've said this. I've got a whole load of cassette tapes up and move off. Games that really stick in my mind. Rainbow Islands. I have the pleasure of once there was I think it was holiday in Cornwall or something when I was a kid, and there was a fucking Rainbow Islands arcade machine, and I was massively excited about the fact that I could play the actual thing, the actual cabinet. So yeah, Rainbow Islands definitely an absolute classic. Also, I do remember playing Mortal Kombat, the first one in the arcade. That was in France when they were still using francs, so that can age it a bit. Other ones that I've owned, I think Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles game. That was quite because I was a massive Turtles fan. It was about the right age and used to draw them and shit like that. At least the first iteration. Yeah, I quite enjoyed playing that game. Although it was quite an easy game, I completed that quite easily. That's a reasonable selection. There's lots of other weird ones which I'm guessing people will never have heard of, but yeah, it's all Spectrum based stuff really. Before I got actually a couple of PC ones from the earlier days. Doom, obviously, Quake, Duke Nukem 3D, Descent, everything beginning with D apparently. I don't know, there are a lot of good D games for some reason. You've got to have the D, as they say. What's that? What else is going on in the chat?
I think we're pretty much done. There are no more questions, so yeah. Well, thank you for coming on and answering these questions. I like doing these one-on-ones.
Have I got the job?
Yeah, you could say that. Yeah. All right, want to thank everyone for watching. You can reach Deus Ex Machina. I put your tag in the description, so if they want to reach you,
why wouldn't they? They would be stupid not to.
Yeah, so you can reach this lovely gentleman on Twitter, and yeah, thanks for watching, and see you guys next time. Bye.
I can get out of this.